In this video, I'm asking a simple question. What the hell has gone wrong in Australia? And the reason why I ask this question is out of sincere inquiry. What do I mean by this? Well, part of what I mean by this is the fact that right now, Australia, out of all the Western countries, seems to be, and I guess to be fair, it's mainly in two provinces of Australia. But they're the two provinces where the two major cities are, Sydney and Melbourne. These two provinces are just experiencing the most tyranny and oppression, the biggest police state power grab, with this virus op as a pretext. You've seen things happen in Australia that you don't see happen anywhere else. Even like Canada doesn't do things like this. For what do I mean? Well, for example, a pregnant woman was arrested in her house and carted away for the crime of going on Facebook and saying, "I would like to. We need to have a demonstration. We need to get together and use our God-given right to protest the oppression of the lockdown." She was a pregnant lady who was arrested in her house and taken away. That happened. I've also seen plenty of scenes of people getting the third degree for leaving their houses, for going places, unnecessarily traveling. I've seen police manhandling people. I saw them manhandle a man who was pushing a baby carriage. All of these things I'm seeing out of Australia, it's like everything that's awful about this virus op power grab that's happening right now across much of the world. It seems that of all the Western countries, Australia really is getting it the worst. And I don't want to stereotype Australians a particular way, but it seems to me that they are just the most compliant of everybody. And this is hugely surprising, highly disappointing as well, because of course when I think of Australia, I think this is a whole country that's been they all come from convicts. We're all descended from convicts, and I know they don't like to hear me to hear people say that. Supposedly, it really pisses them off to hear that. But I don't really care whether it pisses them off or not, because if they keep acting in this compliant way, as the way that they've been acting, I want to piss them off. Now, there are plenty of Australians who have joined in the fight against the tyranny and oppression that's happening right now, and there have been some large demonstrations that have happened recently, and that's great. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. All props to everyone who's participated or who sympathized with those rallies, or who's spoken out about what's happening right now. But it just seems like this regime that is, attempting to use this excuse, this to my mind, seemingly orchestrated excuse to keep people down, to keep people oppressed, to remove their livelihood from them, to remove from them their God-given rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and to, in many cases, hardly forbid them from leaving their homes, for this disease that's supposed to be so bad that it's got a 99+% recovery rate, much better than most flus. You understand, if you get the flu, which is just a sort of a typical thing that we've always just kind of shrugged about. Oh, we got the flu. That's too bad. That sucks. you realize the normal flu has a larger mortality rate than this thing that they've been trying to scare us about for the last year and a half. And I know it's, there are different things going on in different places in the world. I'm, happy to be living in a sector of the United States where things basically returned to normal in June of last year. Basically, everything opened back up, and aside from stupid mask regulations here and there, you can pretty much do the kind of things that you would do otherwise before all of this nonsense began. And I'm aware that it's there's a continuum from the most oppressed to the least oppressed, but it seems that of that continuum, Australia is just really getting reamed the worst, and mostly they're loving it. It's like there's the Stockholm syndrome of well let's just let our sadistic captors abuse us as much as possible, and the people who try to fight back, let's hate on them because they're just making the abuse worse. They're just making the abuse even worse. I've actually, I try not to engage with people online because it's so futile and so frustrating a lot of the time. But I've heard back from Australians, and again, the stereotype of the Australian, the rugged individualist, the sort of cranky, pissed off, doing his own thing. I'm going to do what I please. Rugged individualist, the Crocodile Dundee, sort of archetype. What the hell happened to that? What happened to that? I'm seriously asking. That is not a rhetorical question. I'd really, really like to know. And I should also add that I think this problem that I see in Australia, it predates the virus up, because I'm remembering that again, the land of supposed the kind of the Crocodile Dundee kind of alpha male types. Even their accent to me, is suggestive of this kind of mindset, this kind of, and I tried to do their accent earlier, and I know it sounded terrible, so I'm not going to do it again. But even that accent, implies to me, or suggests to me, it connotes for me this desire to be free, to be left alone. But what have I seen go on in Australia? Their media seems to be the worst, as far as just promoting all of the trendy pathologies, including fourth wave feminism and this concomitant anti-male mindset. I'm remembering, and this is just one example, the only example I'm remembering right now, but it's seemingly one of many examples, many similar examples. The girl who had the movie The Red Pill, Cassie J, I think is her name. She had the most trouble getting that movie out and presented for the public. Cassie J was a feminist who started listening to men's rights activists and then committed the crime of actually being open-minded and actually somewhat sympathetic to their concerns. Well, we can't have that. Everything's got to be. We've got to hear just one opinion about everything. Or a very narrow range of opinions, and we can't be sympathetic with men who are struggling with the current state of things as far as marriage and getting the shaft when it comes to gender roles and getting left out and getting abused and getting their kids taken away and all the kind of nightmares that happen in divorce court. We can't have any kind of sympathy with that, seemingly. Of course, and of course, the woke SJW types are all about shutting down dissent everywhere across the entire Western world. But it seems like they've made the most headway in the place where I would have expected them to really run into trouble. Again, because of my expectations, or my general intimation of the typical Australian kind of archetype. What happened? Where did it go? Where have you gone, Crocodile Dundee? A nation turns its lonely eyes to you. And at the same time, not to just dwell on the negative here. At the same time, we've seen really spirited fight against things like vaccine passports and all the other kinds of and lockdowns and all the other kinds of stuff that the elites, that the powers that be want to foist on all of us. We've seen really spirited pushback against all that stuff in places that I would not have expected us to see it. Germany, I kind of thought Germany was just this defeated country that had just swallowed whole that they were pathological and needed to die out and needed to just take in as many people not like them as possible and just change their entire face in every which way. That was my general thought about Germany. But Germany has risen, has really shown some clout here. They've really shown some muscle. They've shown some gumption, big time. In the UK as well. They're, not as much as we'd like to see. I know there'll probably be people come on who always look on the dark side of things, or just black-pilled about everything. Will say, yeah, that's just a few people, though. Most of them are blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm just telling you, I see bright spots where I would not have expected to see them. In places like Germany, in places like England, and somewhere like France, where they're like, vaccine passports? No way. There I go again, trying to do my stupid accents. So it's great that we see spirited defiance and dissent in the kind of places where, again, I thought these kinds of awful postmodern, secularist, anti-white, anti-Western, anti-male notions had just really solidified. But somehow it's worst in Australia. Now, if you want to come on and say it's not so great, I really don't want to hear from the black pillars right now who want to tell me, yeah, it's not so great. You think it's so great in Germany, but it's not so great. Okay, I don't want to hear your nattering nabobs of negativism right now. But what I am interested in hearing, if anybody out there is Australian or knows something about Australia that I don't, I'd really like to know what the hell happened to Australia. What made them into such pussies? How did that transformation take place? Or was it always just a facade? Again, not to put down Australians for being Australian, because I know there are a lot of them there who are fighting back, and I'm happy to see it, and I'm behind them. But then, my experiences with people online is that most of them are really dig the police state. Most of them really dig being shut down and told to stay in their homes, and not dissenting in any way, and a lot of them display this kind of, again, this Stockholm syndrome-esque kind of anger at those who actually are saying, this is bullshit. We want freedom. We want liberty. We have God-given rights, which are being violated right now. all for some stupid supposed pandemic, deadly pandemic, with a 99% plus approval. I mean, not approval. With a 99% plus survivability rate, that hasn't even killed that many people in Australia. I mean, compared to other places. And of course, most of the people who have died, with outlying exceptions, there are people who are already old and frail, which isn't to say it's great that they died, or that I'm fine with the fact that they died, of course, although they'll probably construe it that way. But anyway, this absurd circumstance, this absurd paradigm that exists right now, it seems to really be predominant in a place like Australia, a place where I would have thought there'd be more teeth behind the dissent movement, and I thought they would have more gumption than they've shown so far. Although maybe, hopefully, that's changing now. So, black pillars, please, don't bug me with your negativism. But people who have some idea or some theory about what's happening in Australia, I am all ears. I am very interested. Thanks for watching. My name's Andy Nowicki. Please check out my work at altrightnovelist.com. My latest book, The Insurrectionist, can be purchased at terrorhousepress.com.